controller down. It's time to talk about something extra. My name is TJ Leo.
And I'm Andrew.
Yes, you are. You are Andrew.
I am. I'm sure of it. I'm definitely not an imposter.
You could be AI.
Do I fuck up when I speak? More, Jesus.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
Do I do that more than AI voice cloning fucks up?
I don't know. I've never actually tried to use AI voice cloning
I've heard
stuff.
some AI voice cloning stuff. I will, here's obviously fuck all that shit.
We've
say
derailed
there
already.
We've already derailed. There are
That's how it
some
goes.
people who write pretty funny jokes and then use AI voices to do them, and I'm like, man, you could have just done it yourself. You could have just hired an impersonator or something, and then it would be like, yeah, you should watch this channel. But then instead it's like, no, they're using AI voices. So it's kind of unfortunate because there are some clearly talented writers out there who are kind of kneecapping themselves by using this stuff. But anyway, the point of that is I've heard some fuck ups from those things on those videos, and they get pretty wild. It's just like,
yeah, that's true. Yeah, a little bit of a melding of words.
Yeah.
Usually, yeah. Look out! What are you doing? All right, this is Press Pause Extra.
Oh man, that's fuck. We're already getting off topic again. That reminds me. You remember Arnold's Pizza Shop?
Oh, do I ever? That's the Jerky Boys, isn't it?
I don't even remember. I just remember, hello, this is Arnold's Pizza Shop. Every pizza comes with pepperoni and 9mm bullets. Like that's not AI voice. That's somebody doing an impression, and it's just hilarious.
Some decent, yeah.
Yeah. Like just do that.
If you want pepperoni, we got pepperoni. If you want broccoli, what the hell is broccoli
anyway?
Shut up with the broccoli. So good. Yeah, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it was the Jerky Boys, the same guys that did oh shit, what was it called? You Kick My Dog.
Oh yeah, that one.
And Sam, is it Sam? No. Oh shit, the guy in the box.
Oh, I don't remember. I probably would if I'd heard it, but
I'll have to show you after the show. That's the classic one. What the hell's his name? Sam? Saul. My name is Saul Rosenberg.
Oh, yeah.
I need a box, please.
Yeah. Saul Rosenberg, yeah.
So good, yeah. Those were the days. What happened to those guys?
Yeah.
I should do some research on that. All right. This is Press Pause Extra. And today we're starting a new series, sort of a limited run series, I guess you could say.
Feature of sorts.
Feature, yeah. We're calling it Launch Lineups in Review. And essentially what we're doing is we are going through the generations of gaming, starting with the NES and the Master System, and working our way up as far as we can possibly go, to go over what games these systems launched with, what we think of those games overall, and how does the launch lineup fit? How does it bring in players, and how does it keep players? And overall, is it a good launch lineup or is it a bad launch lineup? Plain and simple.
And some caveats to this. The reason we're starting with the NES and Master System is because that's the era that we started with, and so it's what we're most familiar with. I would love to be able to look at stuff like the 2600 or the Intellivision objectively, but the reality is it can be tough to go back to some of those games. Some of them are great. There are actually some Intellivision games that I love, and there's some good ones on the 2600, but there's also like
a lot of bad ones.
Yeah, and it's hard to look past some of that.
And also for me, like, and probably you as well, this might fall into your category, is that you're correct. We started with the NES, and so I never played Atari or Intellivision or Odyssey until I was like 20, I want to say.
Yeah,
maybe in my teens somewhere.
I had a little bit of experience, like you from a similar era. Commodore 64. You had a Commodore
Yes.
64.
Yeah.
We've played that kind of stuff, but it didn't occupy like the
No.
same space that the NES did. It was a
No.
side thing.
Yeah.
So we're just not qualified
Yeah.
to talk
Exactly.
about that. And
it would be unfair for us to.
I don't
that.
think we'd be. Yeah, exactly. I don't think we'd give it a fair shake.
No.
So
we
that's
would
why
just be
we're
like,
starting.
well, this was bad. This was boring. This was,
Yeah,
this looked horrible.
That's why we're starting here. The other thing is that we are looking specifically at the North American launch library.
Yes.
We're not
100%.
talking about launching in Japan or in Europe or anywhere else. We're talking about what we were exposed to.
Yeah, for those that
technically, because neither of us were alive when the NES came out.
No, but it was our
born
first
the
system.
year after, and you were born the year after me. So, but we still grew up with a lot of these games because a lot of the launch titles are surprise, stone cold classics.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Absolutely. What was I going to say? Don't know.
Oh well. It'll come back to you or it won't.
It'll come back to me at the worst possible time.
Right.
Still, yeah, let's kick things off.
Should we start? This is technically would be out of order, but should we start with the Master System just because it's only 2 games?
So I'm going to start with NES just because I have the screenshots lined up that way.
Oh, okay.
and it will be 10 times easier for me to do it that way.
Okay. I was just figuring because
it's such a shorter conversation.
Not to get ahead of ourselves, but there's not going to be a lot to talk about for the Master System.
Agreed. Yeah, hindsight's 2020. I should have rearranged them that way. But yeah, let's start with the NES. We're going to go in alphabetical order here, just to keep things fair and simple,
because
I guess.
That's how the lists are.
I don't know where I pulled my list from. I pulled it like when we came up with this idea like weeks ago, so I don't remember where I got it from. But let me pull up the screenshot. Hopefully I do this correctly.
Yeah, I just have the Nintendo fan wiki up, and it's got...
There we go. All right, so we are starting with 10-Yard Fight, which, as you can no doubt tell from the screenshot, is a football game.
Yes, it is.
Also, I don't know that you could figure that out from the name of the game.
Well,
10-Yard Fight?
Kind of. I mean, you are trying to move 10 yards at a time in a game of football. Isn't that where the markers
I would
are
never.
at?
I would never have known that if that's a thing. Like, is the minimum that you have to go each down?
I think it's like you look at the delineations in the screenshot. It's those are 5 yards. Well, then I'm fucked. I'm fucked.
Yeah,
I also know very little about football.
Yeah, I don't. The name is just. Maybe it has some sort of link to a
I'm
rule.
Sure football people would be able to figure it out fast. But
yeah, I mean, and don't get me wrong. I've played like Madden. I've played football games before.
Yeah.
But if someone told me 10-Yard Fight, I would think it was some sort of like brawler.
Yeah.
Not a football game. But I digress. This is a screenshot from the game. It is, as you can tell, a sort of a top-down view of the field, and it scrolls up and down based on where you are and how far you run and all that good stuff.
It is the most eye-searing shade of green I think I've seen in a long time.
It is a very lime neon green, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of hard on the eyes.
It's green for go. And then on the sides there, you've got the red is, I guess, turf on the outside of the
sidelines.
The sidelines. When I started playing this, I was a little confused because I do remember playing this briefly back in the day.
I played it for the first time today.
Okay, so as you can see from the screenshot, can you see my mouse cursor? Yeah. So this is you.
Yep.
Here, and these guys basically just follow you when you're running up the field with the ball. You don't actually control anything else.
No, they're just running interference for you.
Yeah, and when you do a play, like a passing play, you basically only have one guy to throw it to. Because the game, so again, for those of you too young to understand, actually that was what I was going to say. I remember what I was going to say now. So,
excellent.
For those too young to know this, up up until I would say, I don't know, probably the PS2 generation, I would say, uh, games typically did not have a global release. They came out in Japan first for
Yes.
Nintendo and Sony stuff, and then anywhere from 6 months to a year and a half later,
Yeah.
games would be
If at all.
translated, yeah, if at all, come to North America. Um, so this is why we stated earlier that we are only reviewing the North American launch releases because they could be drastically different in Japan.
Yeah. Also, there's
Uh,
probably more of them.
Probably more of them, and they're all the ones that didn't make it over here. We wouldn't. I wouldn't be able to review or play anyway because I can't speak Japanese. I could probably fumble my way through them. They're pretty simple games.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing I was going to mention is that for those again who aren't familiar with the NES, it was Nintendo's first console, official game console, I guess you could say.
Yeah,
They
other
had they
than
had
the color TV game 6, which is basically a
and the
Pong
Game and
machine.
Watch, I think, was before that too, right?
Oh yeah, the Game and Watch. Yeah, the
Yeah,
little LCD games. Those are neat.
yeah, they're fine. I always have. I had a bad relationship with like the Tiger. Was it
Yeah,
Tiger?
well, the Tiger ones aren't great. They've got some
No,
cool art on them, but they
they do.
always felt really cheap. The Game
Yes,
and Watch though, they look kind of sleek. They're kind of elegant. I haven't actually played one in years, so I don't remember like
I
if
was
they
thinking
feel
of
cheap in the
picking up
hand.
the re-release one that they did, the
Oh
anniversary
yeah,
one. I never ended up doing that. Probably should have done that. It's probably worth money.
yeah.
Because Nintendo loves their limited
Limited
releases.
editions.
Yeah. Um, so yeah. So to note about the NES as well, it's only got two buttons technically, A and B. It does
Yeah.
have a start and select button and a D-pad, but pretty much 90% of the games only use the D-pad and the A and B buttons.
Yeah, the
And
start
then
button pauses and the select button either does nothing or some
some weird,
obscure function,
yeah,
like changing a weapon or something.
yeah, just very dependent on the game. So when you have only two buttons, you can't really do a whole lot. Basically, you can in this game you use one button to pass, and I think the other button is for when you're on defense and you do the tackle,
Mm-hmm.
if I recall correctly. So you really only have one person to pass to. It's very rudimentary for a football game. It I don't it did the best with what it could at the time. I can't
Yeah.
fault it for that.
The funny thing is that this is far and away not the most primitive football video game
No,
out
no,
there, as
not at
hard
all.
as that is to believe.
No, but this is also far and away much
Not the most
worse.
advanced either.
Yeah, I mean, didn't Tecmo Bowl come out on the NES eventually?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
which
that's
is
the
like
one.
a million times better.
Yeah. That's the one everybody remembers.
Yeah. So this was fine. You're not going to get like hours and hours of enjoyment out of it, I don't think. It also takes a really long time to get up the field. Like
God,
a
it
really long
scrolls
time.
so slowly.
Yeah, your characters do not run fast enough.
Slow. And there's no like sprint button or
No.
anything like that. It's just
Yeah, for you
kind of go to the left or
to
the right, and you maybe juke or maybe you don't, and it's
Yeah.
agonizingly slow.
very, very slow. For you to get a touchdown from very far away is highly unlikely.
It's a miracle.
Yeah, the guys always catch up to you because there's no sprint button, so they're always running faster than the guy with the ball. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, it's fine. Like it's to me, it's like when I go back in time and I take a look at NES games and I take a look at Super Nintendo games, my brain tends to not rate them on a scale of 1 to 10. It tends to rate them on a I don't know if you ever watch ACG on YouTube.
No.
So he doesn't rate his games. He does reviews all the time, but he doesn't rate his games on a scale of 1 to 10. He rates them on a avoid, rent, buy, or wait for sale rating system. And that's kind of how I.
Is this the before you buy guy, or is that someone else?
No, that's someone else. That's
Okay.
someone else.
I recognize those thumbnails with like the dude with the hands out, like jazz hands, but then a head from one of the game's characters photoshopped on. And it's just that's every video on that. in that series is just that format.
I think that's game. Okay, I got an ad in my ear. That was great. Hopefully that didn't. Hopefully that didn't come through on the
It
recording.
looked like you suddenly had an aneurysm.
Oh, it was so loud. I was trying to find it, but I gave up once I got some sort of ad playing in my ear. Yeah, no, yeah, ACG is really cool. Very thorough reviewer. Like I like him. So like for me, this is one of those games where I'm like, I'm somewhere between an avoid and a rent. You know, I
Yeah,
don't
I mean, if you like, the thing is, if you're really into football and you really want to play a football video game, and you were around in 1985 and you'd been
at
playing,
launch. Yeah.
yeah, if you'd been playing football or real sports football on the Atari 2600, this is probably a godsend.
Mm-hmm.
And it's always good to have a few sports games in the launch library of a system.
Spoiler
But
alert, there's a few.
there's a few, and this is, I would say, probably my least favorite one.
Yeah, this is definitely the worst of the sports titles that the NES launched with, for sure.
There is a good way to do a football video game, and I think, well, I don't just think, I know there is a good way to do it on the NES because, like you mentioned, Tecmo Bowl.
Tecmo Bowl.
But this ain't it.
No.
There's room for improvement here. Lots of room for improvement. It's not the worst football game you could play, but man,
It's low on the list.
Yeah, in fact, I would go so far as to say that of these games here, well,
It's not the worst game on this list.
Maybe not the Rob games, but like of the non-Rob games, it's probably the one I like the least.
It could be. Yeah, so yeah, for me, I might rent it and enjoy it, but I'd never pick it up again. Kind of a scenario. All right, let's move on to the next one. Let's see if this works.
I will say this: 10-Yard Fight is a way more interesting name than this game.
Yes, this game's name is, drumroll please, baseball.
Oh shit!
Yeah,
exciting.
It's legendary.
The first of like 5 million baseball games on the NES.
Yeah,
there's so many.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot of sports games on the NES.
Yeah, but
just
baseball
different
games,
iterations,
like by far outstrip all of the others.
Now, that being said, this one's not bad.
It's not bad.
It's not bad. I was actually impressed.
I've played better. I've played worse.
For sure. Yeah.
Obviously, in the years since then, obviously a lot better has come along. For the time, yeah.
For the time, I think it's excellent.
Again, compared to what would have been available on Atari or in television, yeah, this looks a hell of a lot better. The hit detection on the bat and the ball is actually pretty solid.
It's very good.
Yeah. One thing that I couldn't figure out was, why does my first baseman keep trying to steal when I haven't told him to do that?
I didn't have that problem.
Yeah, the pitcher was always throwing it to first base because I guess it thought that my first baseman was trying to steal. And they're like, I didn't do that. What's going
on? If I remember correctly, when you're at bat, if you press on the D-pad, that tells the person on the corresponding base to run. So like if your guy was
that's a problem because it also adjusts your batter's position.
Yeah. So which doesn't really affect a whole lot. I found I was playing around with it and I'm like, why can't I move? It doesn't seem like there's a point to it. Mm-hmm. But yeah, if you press up on the D-pad when you're at plate, I'm pretty sure the first baseman will make a run for it.
Okay. So
or will at least lead off. Yeah. But I thought the controls were great. Aside from that, I thought the controls were wonderful. The only thing I didn't like about it was how easy it was to get a home run. It was very easy.
Really? I couldn't manage it.
Really? Wow.
I couldn't manage it.
Out of my first 3 attempts, 2 of them were home runs.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was like,
maybe I just suck.
Yeah, I mean, if you get the timing down, I'm sure you would, spend a little bit more time with it. You'd probably be getting them left, right, and center. But yeah, I actually enjoyed it. I'd buy this one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I don't think it's multiplayer though, which is weird.
Yeah, I thought it was fine. Definitely a better baseball game than 10-Yard Fight was a football game.
Oh yeah,
Um, if I'm not really a huge baseball fan, but I think if you were, this probably would have been a solid title in the library.
100%,
Yeah.
100% agree. All right, let's move on to Clue Land.
Yes.
This is a weird game.
This is a weird game. I actually like this one.
Can you explain how you play? Because like I get the controls, but I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing.
You are supposed to be going over empty spaces and uncovering those crystals. They form some kind of pattern. Like in
I
this
thought
one,
that's what I was. Yeah.
yeah, in this one, it looks like they probably form like a pair of glasses or something.
Mm,
There's a stage where they form a heart.
okay.
You just got to kind of figure out where they are by just moving over the spaces and avoiding the hazards.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. I couldn't beat the first level because I was
Yeah.
like so confused about what to do.
It's tricky and it's not immediately self-explanatory the way that something like Pac-Man is, where
Right.
you just start moving and the dots vanish when you go over them and you go, oh, okay, I see what I'm
Yeah.
supposed to do.
Yeah. It's not as intuitive.
Yeah, now, of course, it bears mentioning these games would have come with a manual back in the day.
Yes, they did. Yes, they
Nowadays, games don't have manuals, but they have in-game
did.
tutorials.
In-game
so it doesn't matter.
tutorials. Yeah.
But back then, that was all that stuff was in the manual.
Yep. And they were thick boys.
Yeah,
They
decently.
were thick daddies. Yeah, so the odd thing about this game is you think it controls like Pac-Man, but it doesn't. You if you look on the side, can I yeah, so you can see this little orange doodad on the side of
that's
Clue
an
Clue.
arm.
It's an arm?
Well, it's
Okay.
it's something. It's some kind of thing because
I thought it was a hook.
well, an arm, a hook, or something. It reaches out and you latch onto those circles. They're like posts that you spin around.
Yeah, and when you hold on to it, it spins you around and you let go to go whatever direction that you're trying to go, basically.
Yeah, it's a little bit disorienting at first because part of you
Yeah.
thinks, "Oh, I push left to extend the left arm and right to extend the right arm." No, that's not how it works. You just push in the direction you want to go, and if there's a post that can take you there, the character will reach out to it.
Yeah.
So
But if you hold it, then you kind of like spin around, and if
Yeah,
you
you'll
let go,
just
that's
keep
when you let
going
go.
until you
Yeah.
release. Yep.
It's very interesting.
It takes getting used to.
Yes, but it is fun.
It is fun. I first played this one when it was included with Animal Crossing, so like 20 years ago. So it's already it's despite it being a game that I didn't play until the GameCube era, it's now a nostalgic NES title for me because I first played it so many years ago.
This one actually surprises me that nobody did like a remix, like you know how they did like a Pac-Man Championship Edition.
Yeah,
Like why Ku Klux Klan just never got that treatment for some reason? That's kind of weird.
I don't know. Maybe it didn't do very well.
I mean, that's certainly plausible, certainly possible. I will say that the enemies look like the Octoroks from Zelda.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know how many stages there are in the game, but if there's a lot, I would say there's a good amount of replay value.
Mm-hmm.
Me personally, I'm not a big fan of it. I probably would consider it a rental for me, but but from like an objective standpoint, if you're into this kind of puzzler type game, you probably enjoy it.
Yeah, once you get used to the controls, you can
Once you
actually
get used to it, yeah.
you can actually do really well at it. I used to be decently good at this game, and I had a lot of fun with it. This is one that I would have probably spent a lot of time with if I had as a kid. I mean, I played it a whole bunch in Animal Crossing, so there's that. But yeah, I like this one. It's a little bit weird, but I kind of like that it's not just here's the checklist of games that you need. Here's a weird kind of puzzle-y, action-y game that looks sort of like Pac-Man from a distance, but is actually a very different game.
Very different. Very, very different. Also, I'm also just noticing that the crystals look exactly like the crystals
rupees.
from Zelda.
Yeah.
The rupees, exactly.
That was the first thing I thought of when I played the game like 20 years ago.
But all of these games were developed by Nintendo, right? All the launch lineup games?
Most of them were. This one is a Nintendo game.
So, I mean, they probably just ripped that asset right out.
They probably just recycled it. But, 10-Yard Fight is a game by Irem, which is not a Nintendo first-party developer,
Gotcha.
but I mean, some of these games were arcade games originally that they
Yeah.
ported to.
I mean, I guess that makes sense. They probably would have called 10-yard fight football if it was a
If it
Nintendo
was a
based game.
Nintendo game, yeah,
Yeah.
probably.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's move on to one of the most classic NES games of all time, Duck Hunt.
Yes.
Thank you to Time Extension for this screenshot. It's one of the only ones I could get that wasn't like a remaster or like
Oh
a
yeah.
remix or some shit. Every time I looked at a screenshot, I was like, I don't remember it having this much detail.
No, no.
I'm wondering if they did like a Wii version maybe at some point to take
Uh,
advantage of the remote because it looked like HDified to me, the
uh,
screenshots.
I don't think so. They did put it out on the Virtual Console for the Wii U, and it
Oh,
did
maybe.
use the Wii remote, but it's just the NES version. It's
Yeah,
not like
that's not the
upgraded in any
one.
way.
Uh,
I don't know. Maybe they were like remixing it with a screenshot from the Duck Hunt stage in Smash Brothers Ultimate.
oh, maybe.
Because
Oh, wait.
the dog and the duck are a playable character in that game. I
I'm
actually like playing
seeing
with them.
I'm seeing something called Duck Hunt Remastered online. Maybe it's a
Like a fan thing.
fan ROM.
It's
Maybe.
possible. There are people who put out HD texture packs or HD sprite packs for NES games for use through emulators.
Hmm.
So it's certainly not outside the realm of possibility.
Yeah, it looks like it's a HD pack for Duck Hunt. Yeah, fan
Yeah.
made. They're fan made. Okay. All right,
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, so this was the only one I could get that was decent. So as you can tell, it is a light gun game, and if you
Yep.
haven't heard of Duck Hunt, you point that light gun at the screen and try to shoot the ducks as
Yep.
they fly up on the screen. Not the dog. Don't shoot the dog.
No, do shoot the dog. Fuck that dog.
Yeah, he laughs at you when you miss. So
Yeah.
you should definitely shoot that dog. I think you have a certain amount of misses before the game's over.
Yeah, you have 3 shots per like duck, basically.
3 shots per duck.
Mm-hmm.
And they usually fly out from the grass, which is the dog is supposed to scare them.
The dog flushes them out, and then and then
fly
you
out.
shoot them down.
And it is very difficult. It's not an easy game unless you go right up to the screen, like I used to do as a kid.
Yeah,
And even then, it's still pretty difficult.
I mean, you gotta use the sights on the zapper, man. They're there for
You
a
do.
reason.
I mean, I was a child. I probably was like,
My
trying
dad
to
taught
look
me.
cool.
My dad taught me what those were. I didn't know what they were at first, and I was
Iron
okay at
sights?
the game, but not great. And then
Yeah.
my dad said, "So those notches on the gun, those are sights. You line them up with the little thing at the end, and point them at the duck, and that's where your gun is aiming." And then I was like, "Oh, okay." And then I immediately got a lot better at it.
I always wondered how it does what it does.
Oh,
Like, how does the technology work?
Oh, I can actually explain that. So.
Because it can't be gyro or anything like that.
No. It is actually it's so much more primitive than that, but also very clever. So you've noticed, I'm sure, that whenever you pull the trigger, the screen flashes.
Mm-hmm.
So what it's doing is it's clearing the screen for a frame, and then there is one frame of a white square, and the gun is a sensor that detects whether or not it's pointed at a bright area or a dark area, and also compares that to what's being drawn on the screen, like what scan lines are activated.
Mm-hmm.
And
in other words, is there a duck there?
Yeah, it basically says, is there a valid target, yes or no? And because it also checks which scan line it's on, it can tell which target you're pointing at. But there's a limit to how many targets can be on screen at once. I think it's like 2 or 3
2
targets.
or 3, yeah.
And the targets can be different sizes. Like in Wild Gunman, which we'll talk about later, the targets are quite large. But in Duck Hunt, they're fairly small.
They're a lot smaller, yeah.
So that's how it works. And
so the gun is actually reading the TV screen.
Yeah, the gun is a light sensor.
That's pretty clever.
Which is where the term light gun comes from.
I wonder if it would work on an HD TV without scan lines.
It does not.
It doesn't. Wow.
No.
So you have to have a CRT monitor to play this game.
Well, the thing is, because it's very, very tightly controlled to the timing of the TV. The digital processing of HD TVs mean that they're slightly behind, not by much, but
Mm.
enough that the gun doesn't receive the information quick enough. So
Mm.
even if you're aiming at it, the gun registers it as a miss because it's like the TV might only be one frame behind where the gun is
But
expecting it
that's
to
enough
be,
for it to
but
lose
that's
it.
enough. Yeah, because
Yeah.
it is frame accurate.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Now, I will say, I have read that somebody figured out a way to get it to work, but there was a whole process, and I believe some hardware hacking involved. This
Mm.
was a thing that I read a few years ago as a like do it yourself project. Here's how to do it if you want to play Duck Hunt on an HD TV. Eh?
Mm.
But it was a lot of work, and
Yeah,
I
oh yeah,
still
yeah.
have my NES and my childhood monitor.
CRTV.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sitting right here. My zapper is right here.
Oh, that lovely sound. It
Yep,
still works.
that's the one.
That's awesome. That is awesome.
This game's great.
Yeah, this
Honestly, this
game's
game
wonderful.
is really good, and I was thinking about it a lot today, as I was kind of going over my head. Uh, what I think about these games. Um, Duck Hunt is the kind of thing that's really simple, but it's elegant in its simplicity.
Mhm.
And this is probably best explained by the fact that my niece loves this game. My niece is 6 years old, and I introduced her to this game when she was probably about 4.
Shoot the ducks.
Yeah. Now I've played several games with my niece. I've played Kirby and the Forgotten Land. I've played
Woo.
TMNT Shredder's Revenge, and she loves those games. But they always kind of frustrate her a little bit when she's expected to press several buttons in
Yeah.
quick succession because she's a little kid, right? And she hasn't
Yep.
quite got that down yet.
This is
But
much simpler.
this is much simpler. It's like
Point
it's
and click.
exactly. It is so it's not because hitting the buttons is an abstraction. You know, hitting the button doesn't really translate to punching other than you are moving a part of your body forward. But there's a big difference between moving your thumb forward to hit a button and moving your fist forward to punch somebody. It's
Yeah.
like the loosest possible connection. So for a little kid whose brain isn't quite able to wrap around these abstract inputs yet, that's a challenging thing. But you're literally just moving a thing around and pulling a trigger. You're pointing at the thing and then you're saying activate the interaction. It's
Yep.
so intuitive, even for
Yep.
a kid. And she picks up Duck Hunt and she plays it like it's second nature because it is just as easy as point and pull.
Yep.
It's super super intuitive. And it got me thinking about how when Nintendo announced the Wii controller and how that would work, and lots of people, myself included, were like, "What are you doing, Nintendo? Buttons are fine; they work just fine." I now, in retrospect, I kind of think that they were. Well, I mean, they were obviously onto something because they sold like 100 million of those
150
things.
million. Yeah.
But from a design standpoint, I think they were probably saying, well, buttons are fine for our teenage and adult players, but what about the really little kids? We want to make games for everybody. Here's something that they can just point at the screen.
Yeah, and not just
And
kids, but just non-gamers.
yeah,
Anyone played this.
yeah. And when I realized that, I was like, oh yeah, now I can see why the Wii was such a big hit with people outside of the core gaming market. It's just it suddenly made sense like today as I was thinking about it because I just never made that connection before. But it's like, yeah, it makes sense. I see what Nintendo was going for now. Just a natural like point your limb at it with this extension of you, whether
Mhm.
it's a gun or a remote or whatever. It's just kind of a natural motion. It makes sense.
I'm kind of surprised they never remade this or did anything with it with the Wii.
Yeah, I thought that was really strange because they did that Punch Out remake on the Wii with the motion controls for the punching.
Yeah.
It always seemed like such an obvious thing to do.
The only thing I I have to assume why is because it's not as simple as point and shoot on the Wii. Because when you point it, you have to watch where the cursor is. It's not like the zapper. You're pointing
True.
it at the sensor bar, which triggers the crosshairs to appear, and
True.
so it's not it's not 1-to-1. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That might be
And
why.
and that is what playing it on the virtual console is like. There is an added crosshair. And
Yeah,
it does feel a little bit different.
a little loose.
Yeah.
Not quite what it needs to be.
Yeah.
I wonder what. I feel like they could come up with a way of doing light gun style stuff again, and they just haven't.
Yeah. Yeah, because
you can't say that HD TVs just can't do it. There must be a way.
Yeah, there's got to be a workaround for it. There has to be.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, clear as day, Duck Hunt's a classic, and
yeah,
it was a huge part of the success of the NES. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, and bundling it in a single cartridge with Super Mario Brothers, which not all copies are. There are individual copies of Super Mario Brothers and Duck Hunt.
Yep.
But my copy, which was a pack-in, the pack-in version that came with the system, was the 2-in-1 cartridge.
Same.
That was such a good idea.
Yeah, brilliant. Yep, absolutely. All right, we're both on the same page with that one. Let's move on to Excite Bike.
Excite Bike's another good one.
This one's very interesting because it's so technical, you know, like it's not just a racing game. It's a side-scrolling racing / be as efficient as you can with landing and going up hills, and you know, it's a motocross simulation.
And it's not really about racing against your opponents. It's about racing against the clock. Even though
it's a time attack mode. Basically,
there are other racers on the track. They're more like obstacles, which is something that we will talk about with another biking game later in this video. Yeah, it's a fun one. You've got different obstacles to go over. We've talked before about how it feels like the precursor to the Trials franchise.
Yes.
And it is. It's even got a track editor.
Yeah, it's absolutely fantastic.
You cannot tell me that the people at Red Links weren't like, Nintendo hasn't made a new Excite Bike since the N64. Why don't we make one?
No, and they did, and they were very successful. And then they flooded the market with too many.
Well, yeah.
That's typical modern gaming, though.
Yeah.
I think you always play this guy, right?
Ubisoft, so they were probably pushed to do that.
Oh, well, probably. I think you always play the red and white guy, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So this is you. You can move up and down on these 4 sort of layers of tracks. So you can see the shadow of this purple guy, the shadow of this purple guy, the shadow of this guy. So they're all in different lanes, basically.
Yeah, it helps you identify where they are, horizontally, while they are vertical.
Yeah, so that you don't run into them. Because if you run into them, you crash, and then you have to get back up, which slows your time down. And then, as you can see at the bottom here, you also have a temperature gauge because you have a boost that you can use. But the boost makes your temperature go up, and if it gets all the way to the top, you basically go boom.
Yeah. The thing I really like about this is that the game has that motorcycle rev sound, and it changes in pitch as you use the boost. And when you get close to maxing at the temp gauge, it goes like it gets really intense.
It ramps up, so there's no excuse.
It's really good oral feedback.
Why'd you have to say it that way?
It's AURAL. Oral, not oral. Oral.
I know. Oh man. Was there any music in this game? I don't think there was. There's just a lot of revving.
There's a jingle when you started the game. It goes do 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 do.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And then there's like the race beginning music where it's like, what is it like? Do 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 do.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, so there's some jingles, but there's not really music.
Yeah, for the race itself, it's just a whole lot of.
The soundtrack is the engine.
It's the engine, and I think there's crowd cheering as well.
Yeah, there's yeah. Most of which is just the noise generator on the NES, Yeah,
it's just
like at different rates and pitches. Yeah. It sounds kind of like the ocean
It kind of looks like the ocean too.
Yeah, it does look a little bit like the ocean, doesn't it?
It's a little wavy. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's super fun, very enjoyable, very difficult. And yeah, you can create your own tracks, which is fantastic.
A track editor back then is a lot of fun.
Crazy.
Yeah,
So crazy.
it's slow, but I mean, it's a you know, it's
It's a
an
track
NES
editor
game.
from
It
NES
doesn't.
era.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's not much else they could have
It's like
done.
the first track editor in gaming history, basically.
Um. Oh man, is it
It could. It's got to be. I mean,
on the NES? It probably is.
I mean,
Well,
would there
no,
be a
because Wrecking Crew also has a level editor, but they came out at the same time.
They came out at the same time, yeah. So I guess they tie for the rights to the first ever level / track editor. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's kind of cool. Congratulations to Excite Bike. And it also had a absolutely fantastic sequel on 64.
Yeah, I'm not as enthusiastic about the sequel, but I do
Oh,
I
it's
do
so
enjoy it. I
good. Oh, it's
like
great.
that I like that desert mode, the sort of infinite desert mode. That's kind of fun.
Mm. Yeah, yeah, I love that game. So good. So that's Excite Bike. I think
Yeah.
a purchase for sure. For
Yeah,
me.
absolute classic. Great game to have in your collection.
Yep,
Would strongly recommend. And a strong addition to any launch lineup.
absolutely. Let's move on to the next one, which is golf.
Yeah,
Yet another
another
sports title.
just exactly that. It's just golf. It is a golf video game, and that's it.
Yep.
But it's not bad.
So maybe it's just me, and I didn't understand this particular part of the game, but it doesn't really tell you what switching clubs does. Now
No,
I
it
know.
doesn't.
Now I've played golf video games all the time, but
Hmm.
they usually tell you this is the kind of distance you're going to get out of this club.
Hmm.
This game does not. It basically just says, well, you better know how far clubs are expected to go because
Yeah,
we're not going to tell you,
yeah.
which makes the game almost unplayable for me
Well,
personally.
here's the thing. 6 years later, saw the release of NES Open Tournament Golf, which
Let me
does
guess.
tell you
Okay.
and is basically this game, but better in every single way. And I played this today, and then
Yeah.
I was like, how does this compare to NES Open? And I started playing some NES Open, and before I knew it, I was 9 holes in, and I was like, oh, I gotta stop playing.
Yeah. NES
I
Open's
gotta, I gotta.
actually good.
NES
Yeah.
Open is great.
Yeah.
That is a
Yeah.
fantastic golf game, but it's not what we're talking about, even though I
No.
could talk about it for a surprisingly long amount of time.
We're talking about NES Open, the beta.
Yeah, basically.
Really. Um,
It does have a cool the sort of environment screen on the left there. It is cool how it builds up a pseudo 3D view from just a selection of tiles to give you sort of a
yeah.
look at what the environment is. NES Open does it full screen. Again, I shouldn't be comparing it because this is not about is this the best golf game on the NES. It's
No.
is this
Is
a
it
good addition to the launch lineup? And
Yeah.
for the record, I think it is. There's definitely room for improvement. One thing that I found annoying is how much delay there is in the game between doing things. Like your
Yeah.
character has to take a moment to sort of appear on that side screen.
Yeah.
It's just a little delay,
It's a little sluggish.
but it happens for every single shot because
Yeah.
that screen has to refresh. So it's happening constantly, and it's really annoying. And I shouldn't be doing this, but NES Open does it too. But it has a screen transition and takes you to a different screen with a full screen view, so it feels like it's worth it.
I want
You
to play
know?
this game now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would say it's a pretty game
It is.
for a launch game on the NES.
Yes, it looks great.
Especially the right side. This like the water effects.
Yeah.
That's really really cool for the time.
That is a static image. There's no animation to the water in the game.
No.
It would have been kind of neat if there was, but I mean, we're just we're splitting hairs at this
But
point.
it looks good though.
Yeah, it looks fine. You can easily tell like what the terrain is.
Yeah. But for me,
it's very straightforward.
for me though, because it doesn't tell you the distance of each club, it's almost unplayable for me. I got so frustrated.
It's definitely a speed bump in the game.
Yeah.
You can figure it out pretty quickly, although even then it does sometimes seem kind of inconsistent. Like
Yeah.
I'll use the same club, I'll hit basically the same shot in the same kind of wind, and I'll get like 30,
Way off.
40
Yeah.
yards difference in the shot. Is like, what the hell happened here that was different? I was shooting from the fairway with the exact same club, with the exact same shot. Why why was it such a radically different distance?
Yeah. Yeah, I have to categorically say I would not recommend this game.
I think it's okay. I think it's
yeah.
okay.
I would avoid this
I
one.
will give one other pet peeve with it though.
Mm.
When you're caught in the bunker, it does not automatically select the sand wedge for you.
Oh yeah, that's dumb.
Which is
what else are you
really
gonna use in the freaking sand pit?
Yeah.
You gonna use a driver in the sand pit? No.
Yeah, that actually does not work. I tried it. I experimented with it. You literally cannot get out of the bunker with anything but the wedge. It will always hit the side of the sand pit. You can hit it through the sand pit just fine, but you can't get out the edge.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, cannot recommend this one.
I personally, I like it.
If this was the only game that you bought and you spent time with it to learn, like, what each club does and what to expect from each club, I could see people getting enjoyment out of it. And I'm pretty sure my uncle did back in the day. I remember him playing this a lot.
This does seem like an uncle game. Oh, God. That's why I like NES Open. I didn't get into it until after I became an uncle. It's an uncle game.
It's an uncle game.
Oh, shit. I was
golf,
wondering why I suddenly enjoyed that game so much. now it is laid bare. I understand now.
Yeah. My uncle was always a golf video gamer. That was the only video game he would ever play is the golf game. So he started with this, and then he moved on to Lynx on the PC, and then he went to Tiger Woods, and now I think it's PGA Tour. I think it's the current one.
Did you ever play Zany Golf on the PC?
I don't think so.
That was one that I liked. You know, in as much as a 10-year-old can like a golf video game.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so I think this one we're split on.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to the next one.
I will absolutely agree with you though that there are better golf games. This is not the best you could do.
Not even close. Yeah. Gyromite is the next one.
Yeah, and this one is weird. So pulling back the curtain a little bit.
Also, thank you to Media Pool for the screenshot.
Yeah. As I said before, we were around for this era of gaming. However, this game specifically requires the robotic operating buddy. It is one of two games that needs it. Well, I mean, I guess it technically doesn't need it, but if you want to play it correctly, it does. And the ROB unit, it just pushes the A and B buttons on the second controller. That's all it does. That's all it fucking does. It's stack up is a little more advanced, but for this, it's just a glorified way of pressing the A and B buttons. We do not have all of these games physically available to us. Even though I have a real NES and I have real NES games, Gyromite is not one of them, and I never owned a ROB. So
no,
some of these games we had to play on emulator. This is not a game that you can play on emulator and
I realized that as I tried to play it, I was like, what do I do?
Yeah, this is like, unless you assign virtual second player controls, you can't play it. And even if you do, the point is the novelty of having the robot move the spinning tops.
Yeah.
On the second control, like it's a toy basically with a mini game attached to it.
Yeah.
So this is one that is not really possible to play today unless somebody came up with a way of like doing a physics simulation for a virtual ROB. It's just,
I mean,
far
you could
more
also
effort than it's worth.
You could just have a second player play it.
Yeah,
but
that's
at the same time. That defeats the purpose of the
exactly like
design of the game.
To properly play the game as it was designed is impossible on anything but a real NES with a real ROB unit, and probably a real CRT, because it communicates to the ROB through flashes on the TV screen. And again, I actually don't know if it cares about the exact syncing of those flashes.
Might not work on an HD.
But it might not work on an HD TV. I don't know. I've never cared enough about the robotic operating buddy to look that up.
No. Yeah, I would say this one is a big question mark for me.
I would say that this one is kind of a waste of time. Like, the entire ROB thing was a waste of time. There was only 2 games. They were both at launch, and that was it. So you got this giant, like, toy robot in your NES that is essentially useless. There's no future for it because they never made any more games for it.
I think what I find the most weird is that it did launch with the console.
Yeah.
So it's like, why did you launch two pieces of hardware at the same time?
Yeah.
That would be like PlayStation 5 launching with the PlayStation VR2 at launch.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're going to expect people to buy the main console and then this extra piece of equipment. I don't know how much the Rob cost you back in the day.
Well, I don't know about it separately, but if you got the deluxe kit, it came with the NES came with the Rob and the Zapper, and
Do you know
like
how much that cost compared to
fuck.
just an NES?
Let
See if you
me.
can,
You know what?
yeah, see if
Let
you can
me
find
look
that out.
it
I'm
up.
curious. How much did people get ripped off? If it was it an extra $20 or was it an extra like $100 or $150?
Yeah,
That's the question.
cost of NES deluxe kit.
Drum roll.
Let's see here. Ah, here we go. Sears catalog.
Oh, the wish book. I remember that.
Yep.
Memories.
Oh man, this is a low res scan. Let me see.
It doesn't just tell you in like wiki or anything like that.
No, it didn't, which surprised me. Um,
So it says the regular NES launched at $200.
Now, are you looking up
Oh,
in Canadian dollars or American dollars?
American. Uh, no, it must be Canadian because it says the deluxe set launched at $179.99 US.
Okay, because I'm looking the price. The price that I'm seeing here is $149.97. But maybe you know what? Maybe this wasn't from a launch wish book. Like maybe this is like a year or two in.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Maybe the deluxe came out afterwards. Because I've got two different sources here saying that the deluxe kit was 179, but the NES original was 299 or 199. So why would it be $20 less if it included a Rob light gun, two controllers,
Yeah.
gyromate, and duck hunt? That doesn't make any sense.
And the problem is a lot of what I'm getting is for the price of them today. Like a lot of the search results,
the
which is obviously
translation.
like $1,000 or more because people are insane. Yeah, like here's one from a website, and I'm like, oh, is this the original? No, it's a unit that's actually on sale for $798. So I don't know exactly what the launch price of the deluxe set was, but around $200 in 1986 sounds about right because $200 in 1986 would be pretty pricey today.
Oh, wait. So the deluxe set was the original release. There wasn't like a simple, you get the NES and one controller. It was the deluxe set was what it launched at, and that was $180.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't until later that they released a standard set that came with Super Mario Brothers and Duck Hunt combo cartridge.
Yeah, that's the one I got. So I just looked up the price conversion, and $200 US in 1985 when the NES launched would be approximately $590 today.
Holy crap. Okay, so the action set, so the normal set, which came with two controllers, the Zapper, and Mario Brothers Duck Hunt, was
that's what I had. What I had because it came with
that was way cheaper. It was $109.99. So any of the day one NES subscribers, I guess you could call them, or consumers, they got ripped off.
Yeah.
They paid $70 more or $60 more. No, $70 more for just to get Rob, basically.
Yeah, basically.
To get Rob and something else. What was it? What else was in that set? Stupid chair. Gyromate. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they paid $70 more for the Rob, and instead of Super Mario, you get Gyromate and
oh god.
And Stack Up.
Oh no!
Wow, talk about a ripoff.
Yeah.
Damn. Yeah. So yeah, damn. So obviously, I have to assume that the second set is really what made the NES take off.
Yeah, probably.
Was making it way cheaper and getting
Bundling a
rid of
good
Rob
game.
and bundling Super Mario Brothers with it. Like,
Yeah.
whew,
No,
man,
let's put in one of the best games instead of one of the worst.
two of the worst. Yeah.
As if you haven't figured out yet, I do not recommend Gyromite, and I do not consider it to be a
No,
strong addition to the library at launch or
not
ever.
even close. Not even
No.
close. All right, let's move forward. Hogan's Alley. So I never even actually heard of this game until we did this launch lineup series.
Oh yeah.
Never played it, but I did now, and it's a basic light gun game.
Yep.
Nothing super special for me.
Yeah, and so this one, there's two modes in this one. There's the target shooting, which we're seeing on screen. There's also a saloon shootout mode. So the target shooting I found kind of frustrating because they have two innocents and a villain, and you have to shoot the villain. It's kind of like that scene in Men in Black, where the trainees are in there, and
it's so weird how we both thought of that when it's so weird.
Why did you shoot little Susie?
Yeah, why did you shoot little Susie? What'd she do?
And he actually has a good explanation.
He has like a whole story explanation.
Those books are with a good explanation on the spot.
Those books are way too advanced for her.
Yeah.
I was just ending it for her.
Yeah, it's like, wait, no, no, I kind of get it.
If you asked me, I was giving her a break.
But the cop, as you can see there, and the gangster, in the heat of the moment, they look really similar.
Yeah, it's really hard to pick out the right one.
And I guess maybe that's the point, is to train you to, spot your targets properly. But even taking a moment to look at them, I picked the wrong one multiple times.
Yeah, it's not easy.
Yeah, I didn't like this one as much. But the saloon shootout mode, which is you have it's like an Old West saloon, and there's like I believe 4 windows, and then the swinging doors. I forget what they call those things, like Batwing doors or something.
I'll look it up while you.
Yeah. But the classic Western saloon doors that swing both ways and are just sort of a chest high thing. So some banditos will come out of there, out of 3 of them at a time, and you have to you get like 2 seconds to shoot them. And the targets on those are actually quite large. You just kind of need to aim approximately where they are. So it's more about timing than it is about accuracy. That was okay. I don't like it as much as Duck Hunt.
Not even close. Yeah.
But it's not bad.
They're called saloon doors.
Oh, they're just called saloon doors.
Some people refer to them as cafe doors or Batwing doors.
Ah, Batwing doors. So I was right.
Yep. They have multiple names, it seems. Yeah, I did not enjoy this one. Duck Hunt is way more straightforward and enjoyable to me than this.
Yeah.
I also have nostalgia on my side, but even without the nostalgia, I look at this and I go, eh.
Yeah, if you had introduced me to both Duck Hunt and Hogan's Alley at the same time,
I just feel like there's no way anyone would choose this over Duck Hunt.
Yeah. Now, I forget oh no, wait, hold on. I think I might have fucked up, because now I'm thinking about it.
Oh, you're thinking about Wild Gunman?
I think I'm thinking about Wild Gunman that has the saloon minigame, isn't it?
I think so. Yeah.
I've
That's the Western game.
I should have played all of them today.
Yeah, I think Hogan's Alley is, I'm pretty sure, just strictly...
No, this one does have a minigame, but you're shooting like cans and trying to bounce them.
It's all like police station shooting range stuff.
Yeah. The can minigame is okay. That one's kind of fun. It's almost like an early physics game, because you have to like time the bounces, and it can bounce off the bricks, and it's okay.
It's fine.
If it was like one of 6 mini games, I think I'd be more generous. But I believe it's just these 2 modes, as I recall. Yeah. It's just these 2 modes.
I feel like when they came up with the light gun, they were like, let's put out 2 or 3 games that attach to this and see if any of them stick.
Yeah.
And the only one that stuck was Duck Hunt.
Yeah. So. the worst thing you could do with the light gun, but Duck Hunt's better.
Duck Hunt's definitely better.
You know what
yeah.
we didn't even mention when talking about Duck Hunt? We didn't talk about skeet shooting.
Oh yeah, that was fun too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's just a great game. So it's like, but most of what people remember from it is the dog and the ducks.
Yeah.
So it's
Actually, come to
understandable.
think of it, every one of those light gun launch games has 2 modes in it.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
I mean, they were all designed by Nintendo, so
Yeah.
I guess
They probably could have used at least 3 for a little more variety.
yeah. Or just have 2 games with 3 modes. I don't think they didn't really need 3 games for the light gun.
Yeah.
You know, when all is said and done,
Yeah, the fact that I got Wild Gunman and Hogan's Alley confused. I mean, they do kind of have a similar art style. You got those big-headed dudes with the mustaches.
Yeah. Yeah, I cannot recommend Hogan's Alley over Duck Hunt. I don't think Hogan's Alley adds anything to the lineup.
Yeah, the can shooting thing is neat, but I don't think it can hold the game on its own when this mode isn't all that great.
All right, let's move on to the next one, which is Ice Climbers.
Yeah, I like this one. I don't like it as much as some of the other games, but it's a decent little platformer game.
It is very difficult.
It is pretty difficult.
Yeah, a lot of spamming buttons to chop your way through the blocks.
Yep.
But it is very difficult. I can't remember. This one's multiplayer, isn't it? One player can play each climber, I think.
I think oh man, I haven't played this one in a while. I probably should have played it today to refresh my memory. But I didn't play it because I played some of them today to the ones that I wasn't familiar with, or some of the ones that I hadn't played before. I just got around to today because I've had a busy week. But I've played Ice Climber before, so I was like, nah, I don't need to play it. I remember. But now that you ask, 2 players, I don't know, because I don't usually play games 2 players.
Is Ice Climbers?
I didn't have this game as a kid, so I it's not like I've got anybody here to play with, so I didn't even bother checking out if it had 2-player. It probably
says it's multiplayer. Yep.
Yeah, I mean it's got 2 characters. It's got the girl in the pink parka as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I don't think we need to go over a whole lot about Ice Climbers. You start at the bottom of a mountain and you try to climb as high as you possibly can.
Yep.
I don't
Work
know
your way to
what
the top.
I don't know how many levels there are, what the highest mountain goes up, but as you can see, like they get numbered.
Yeah.
How high you go.
Yeah.
So I don't know how high the highest one is, but I definitely have never beaten the game. That's for sure.
No, neither have I.
Very difficult game.
Yeah.
But it's enjoyable. I can't say that I would buy it because it's so difficult, and I kind of steered away from like the Ghosts and Goblins type games.
Oh god, that game is murderous.
It's murder, yeah. So this one wouldn't get more than a rental from me.
Mm-hmm.
But for the masochists back then who bought a game and liked it for its difficulty, you'd probably really enjoy it.
Yeah.
But it wasn't for me. It was not for me. Kung Fu. This is not a screenshot. I don't think.
Oh yeah, that's a screenshot.
Is it?
Yeah, that's the game.
Are you sure? It looks more detailed than I remember.
Oh, it's got a filter on it. It's got like an emulator smoothing filter on it. That's why.
Because I was like, something's off about that screenshot. So, for those that don't know, Kung Fu is a side-scrolling action game. It's very arcadey. You're basically going
It is, in fact, an arcade game originally.
Yeah, I think you just go from right to left, hacking your way through people.
Yep.
And it's sort of a Twitch action game in a way.
Yeah, you got like punches and kicks. You can go high and low, and it's basically dodge the enemy attacks and hit them as they come. And
that's only for bosses. Just to get to the boss, you have to take out like a myriad of
like guys that go down
goons.
in one hit.
Yeah, but the goons don't attack you; they just hug you, basically.
Yeah.
So if they get too close, they hug you, and your health meter starts to drain until you get them off you.
Yeah.
So you got to try and like not let them get right up to you, and they're constantly coming from both directions. So you're like,
yeah, it's got that really really bit crushed voice clip.
Yeah, it's classic to me.
Yeah.
Very difficult game.
Mm-hmm.
Now I definitely never beat it. But it is enjoyable.
I've never played this one for too long. I think maybe I got to the first boss once. It wasn't a game that I played a lot.
I think I beat the first boss, but I didn't beat the second. So
It's just
I don't know how long it is though.
yeah. The reason I never played this one this much is because I didn't play it like at launch, obviously, because I wasn't alive. And by the time I did play it, I had already played stuff like Double Dragon and River City Ransom.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like, why would I play this when those are obviously
Way
better?
better. Yeah.
So I never spent too much time with this one, but I mean, it's okay.
It's the only beat 'em up at launch.
Yeah,
So
it's this or nothing.
it's this or nothing, yeah. And there are 5 end of level bosses, so I got nowhere near the end. I
Yeah,
could only
so
beat the
I mean,
first
it's not
boss.
short. Then there's at least
I
like,
mean,
well,
what's the definition of short? You know, because like if you did it in one run, you could probably beat the game in 30 minutes.
sure,
Um,
but I mean, like compared to
but
some of the other stuff on this list, like what else we got here? We got oh, I got to go back to that page.
yeah, we got a bunch of sports games that you don't beat; you just replay them over and over.
Yeah.
Clue Clue
Clue
doesn't
Clue
really
Land.
have an ending.
Um,
Duck Hunt
I-
doesn't really have an ending. They're arcadey type
yeah.
games. Yeah, yeah. I guess this is the only game with like a real ending.
Well, other than Super Mario Brothers.
Well, that we've talked about so far.
Yeah, that we've talked about so far.
I guess Ice Climbers, I assume, probably has an ending.
Ice Climbers probably has an ending, but I've never seen it.
No. I'm gonna Google that actually real quick. How many levels in Ice Climbers? Not Clumbers, Ice Climbers. There we go.
Imagine if there was an Ice Plumbers game where you had to like plumb frozen toilets. There's a thing that the Mario Brothers had never done before.
Wow, there's 32 levels in Ice Climbers.
Fuck.
There's no way I'd be able to beat that game.
Is that now? Hold on. Is that 32 tiers of the mountain or 32 mountains?
No, 32 mountains.
Holy shit.
32 vertically scrolling ice-covered mountains.
Well, you're definitely getting your money's worth.
Good lord. I don't know how you could beat that game.
Oh, God. I've never even beaten the first mountain.
I've beaten the first one, and I think the second one?
Oh, man.
Maybe? I seem to do that a lot in these games where I, like, the hard games, I'm like, as long as I beat the first level, I'm content. You know what I'm saying? And once I get past there, I'm like, I'm not doing this anymore. All right, let's move on from Kung Fu. Kung Fu, I like Kung Fu. I don't know whether I'd buy it. I would probably, as a launch lineup game, I think it's really good.
Yeah, I think it's a decent addition.
Yeah, once you get into the bigger library, it's like this becomes kind of obsolete.
Yeah, this game was replaced by better games in fairly short order.
Just like golf.
I would even say that Kung Fu Heroes, which is a different, unrelated, but similarly named and themed game, is probably better. That's a top-down game, but I kind of like that one more.
This game did get a sequel, but it was on Game Boy.
Mm-hmm.
And it was way different than this.
Yeah.
All right. Pinball.
Yeah, another game that is just exactly what it says on the tin.
Yep. Another Nintendo based basic game.
Yeah.
That's really good.
It is good. It's I like
so good.
pinball, and I think it's an easy win to add to the launch library of a system.
Yeah.
Because it's like who doesn't like pinball? You know, there's so much variety.
I mean, I love pinball. Yeah, no, not there. So yeah, so to describe the game, there is one board, one pinball machine, and in the screenshot that I'm showing you on the screen share right now, that's the top. Yeah, it's the top half of the board.
The game, instead of scrolling, which would have been, I think, really disorienting to track the ball while it's scrolling, it just flips between the top and bottom. If you've ever played, well, this isn't a great point of reference because now it's also a retro game, but if you've ever played Pokemon Pinball on the Game Boy Color, which by the way is a really good pinball game, and has twice as many tables as this one.
Yeah, Metroid Prime Pinball does the same thing, I think. Oh no, it's a DS game, so it doesn't need the scrolling.
It's got the dual screens, but I think that's the way to do it. Smooth. Like it's not choppy. The ball moves really smoothly, so it's easy to keep an eye on. The physics on it are actually pretty decent. Like it does bounce, I would say, fairly realistically for a pinball
for an NES
video game.
Yeah. It's not like it's unpredictable.
No.
You kind of you know where it's going. It's just a matter of
I have played, and here's something you're not going to hear a lot out of me today. I have played worse games that came out after this.
Oh
Like
yeah,
normally it's like,
definitely.
oh yeah, this is an okay baseball game, but everything that came afterwards was better. I've played worse pinball games that came out after this.
Oh yeah, 150%.
So
Absolutely. I don't know how people like the Zen pinball series. I don't know if you've ever
I've
played
ne-
those, but they're
yeah,
not
I've
good.
never actually played those ones.
Yeah.
Um, but I remember like Sonic Spinball on the Genesis, which is a good idea for the game, but was executed like kind of
Not
badly.
great.
That game's really choppy
Yeah.
and doesn't control super well.
Yeah. This is one of my top 3 favorite pinball video games.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd go that far because I mean it has been surpassed by other games, but it's a good pinball game, you
Yeah.
know.
No,
Um,
this is my number 3 favorite pinball game, and number 2 is the PC one that I always forget
oh,
that came with
Space Cadet
Windows.
Pinball.
Space Cadet Pinball, and then Metroid Prime Pinball is my favorite one.
Oh
I
yeah,
love that one.
you know what I liked? I liked Galactic Pinball on the Virtual Boy, which is a bit of a misnomer because there's no ball in that game. It's like a weird puck. I don't know why, but pin puck just doesn't. So why would
Pin
you?
Puck.
I don't know. I don't know. It's a weird
Was it
decision.
made by Nintendo?
Yes.
Oh wow, that is strange.
Um, but it was fun.
Yeah.
Also, um, it is the game that makes Samus Aran appear on more Nintendo platforms than Link, because there is a mini
Mm.
game in one of the tables where you control Samus's ship and presumably her inside it, shooting down asteroids for a bonus round for points. So
Hmm.
that means Samus has appeared on a Nintendo system that Link hasn't, which is
That's
weird
funny.
if you think about it. But yeah, pinball. I mean, there's not a whole lot to say about this game. It's pinball, and it's a decent
It's
pinball
pinball,
game.
and
It's fun.
it is funny to look at it now because it's like if Nintendo made a pinball game, you would expect it to be branded with Mario or Zelda or Metroid, and
There
this
is
thing
a
had.
there is a mini game with Mario in it.
Oh, is there?
Yeah.
Oh, I wasn't aware of that.
On the bottom half of the table, you see that red hole there?
Yeah.
If you go into the red hole in the bottom half of the table, you might have to like trigger some stuff in the stage first. I don't remember. But if
Mm.
you go in there, there's a mini game where you control Mario with like you trying to bounce a ball around, and you're like holding it's Mario's like holding up a plate to keep the ball from falling out of the playfield, and Pauline from Donkey Kong is also hanging out there at the top of the screen.
Good old Pauline.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So yeah, it's pinball, but it's good.
that's good. Yeah,
and
no, it's great.
and absolutely the kind of game that I think fits really well with this launch lineup. I just wish there were more tables. Like putting
Yeah,
in putting in like 2 or 3 tables would have been it would have been fantastic. Having just the one, it's not a bad table, but
it's yeah, but if I was to purchase this back in the day and realized it was only one table, I'd probably be kind of mad.
yeah,
Unless it was a budget title, maybe it was like cheaper than a normal
yeah, it
title. I
might
don't know.
it might have been cheaper. This might have been like a $20 game instead of a $30 game,
Let's see.
which is
Let's
what
see if
which is what games used to cost.
how much did Pinball NES originally cost? Let's see if there was an MSRP for that.
Yeah.
No, there wasn't.
Let me see if I can find it.
Nothing off the hop anyway. I'm getting like eBay pricing
Yeah.
and um
Yeah, so you know what the nice thing about this Nintendo fan wiki would be is if it had that information.
yeah.
That'd
The game
be
itself does not go for very much.
really
That's
that's surprising.
yeah, like
I
I'm
figured
seeing it here
all
for
of
like
these
six
games.
dollars.
Really?
Yeah.
You can get a black box NES game for something that's less than $100 these days. That's okay. Cool, I
Yeah.
guess.
I did not expect that. I'm not on eBay a lot. I should probably check it out more often.
Yeah. Funny, it looks like there was a Famicom Disk System version that was released in '89. I can't imagine why you would do that.
All right. Let's see. What's our next one here? Soccer.
Oh yeah.
Sports title number 4, I think.
Mhm.
So as you can guess, this is another Nintendo developed sports game. It's soccer, and it's very simple. I find it very easy to get goals in this one, just like I found it very easy in uh, baseball, like to
Yeah.
get home runs. The the AI is not fantastic.
Mm.
Like if you can pretty much just stay in the middle of the screen and run left and right, and only one, maybe two people will come after you at any point. So,
Hmm.
I mean, it works, but it's not incredibly. I don't
Yeah,
know.
it's not like it's got a catchy
It's fun.
jingle at the beginning though. That's
It does. It
that's
does.
okay, I guess.
And when you get a goal, they all kind of like celebrate as if
Yeah,
they won the World Cup.
yeah.
Um, but it's a little basic.
I don't like how you have to like kick the ball around instead of
Yeah,
just like a player getting the ball and kind of carrying it with them.
yeah. When you get the ball, essentially it just the
It
player
you
just
just
kicks it
you
2 feet
just
in front of
nudge it.
you.
I mean, I
Yeah,
guess that's more realistic, but like this is a fucking NES game.
yeah.
It doesn't need to be like this.
And even games of today, they don't do that.
No.
The ball like magnetizes to your player
Yeah.
basically. Yeah, it's weird. It's very odd. It's fine. I I'd probably call it a rental just to see if you like it, but it's not very deep.
Yeah.
Um,
If you want to play a good soccer game on the NES, you get oh, what's it called? Hold on, let me look it up.
Mega Man Soccer, no, it's Super Nintendo.
No, that's Super Nintendo. That's a decent one as well though. It's like, yeah, Nintendo World Cup. So
Oh, okay.
this is actually a Technos game. It's the same series as River City Ransom because it's got that same style of characters. You know, those really blocky dudes.
Yeah,
There were a bunch of them on the NES. There's like Crash and the Boys and
Crash and the Boys.
oh
Sounds like a
man,
band name.
yeah. Well, it was a band name in Scott Pilgrim. Did you ever see Scott Pilgrim?
I saw the movie. Yeah.
Yeah, Crash and the Boys. You know, we're Crash. These are the boys. Is that girl a boy? Yes. They had like the 2 second song. This song is called "I Am So Sad." I am so very very sad.
I gotta rewatch that movie. I've only seen it once. I gotta.
So sad. Thank you. It's not a race, guys.
Nope.
I've seen that movie so many fucking times.
None of that comes to my mind. The
Really?
only when I so I've seen it once and I really enjoyed it. I never went back to it though for
That
some reason.
that was like my favorite scene in the movie.
I for whatever reason the only thing I can remember about that movie is um Scott and whatever the girl's name is that he goes after with
Ramona?
the blue hair.
Yeah,
Like she has
Ramona.
blue hair. They're in I think his basement because I can picture them like up against wood paneling
Yeah.
walls and stuff. That's the only thing I can picture from the movie. Oh,
Oh
and then
yeah.
like at one point he gets like uppercut through a wall. Like I think.
Yes. Yes, he
Um,
does. They're
yeah,
eating garlic bread and he's like, "Oh man, garlic bread is so good. I could eat it for every meal for the rest of my life or just all the time."
garlic
Which
bread's good.
I personally identify with heavily because I fucking love garlic bread.
I mean, how
I
can you not love garlic
I've
bread?
never felt so seen by a fictional character. I was like, dude, bro, Scott, me too.
Me
Me
too,
too,
man.
man. Me too.
With cheese, extra cheese.
Oh, cheesy garlic bread's great. I can go
Oh,
either
it's
way,
good.
but like honestly, there's both of them. Both of those are totally acceptable answers. They're
Little
great.
Caesars cheesy pizza is especially
Oh,
good.
the crazy bread. That's the
Yeah,
only reason to go there
yeah.
because it ain't for the fucking pizza. I'll tell you
No,
that.
no, the pizza's like cardboard.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, the pizza. So here's the thing about Little Caesars pizza. This is
derailed again.
yeah, because you derailed again. But I can talk about pizza all day. Um, I like pizza, man.
This is Press Pause Extra, the pizza podcast.
The pizza podcast brought to you by Little Caesars.
Don't eat the pizza. Eat the cheesy bread.
Eat the crazy bread. The crazy bread is legitimately fantastic. The Little Caesars pizza is like $6, and you get exactly what you pay for. But if you eat it while it is warm and fresh, it is acceptable pizza. It's not great pizza.
It's acceptable
No,
pizza.
it is acceptable pizza. I've
Oh,
had
that's so
worse
funny.
pizza for more money
Oh.
than that.
Oh, 100,000%. Yeah, absolutely.
But here's the downside: you cannot reheat that pizza the next day. it is
Oh, no.
impossible to do. Then
it's
it does
atrocious.
turn into cardboard. It is
Yeah.
it is unsalvageable. Like one of the best things about pizza is that you can reheat it the next day as long as you've refrigerated it, and it won't be as good. But there's something about reheated pizza that's like on its like it has its own appeal. I prefer fresh pizza, but like sometime like a really thick cheesy pizza the next day for breakfast is like, yeah, man, put that in the microwave for 20 seconds. That's good eating. Not as good as when it was fresh, but surprisingly good for something that's, 12 hours old.
I'm getting hungry.
Yeah, we should have gotten pizza.
Yeah. No, not pizza. We should have got cheesy bread.
Oh, yeah. But what were you talking about? Soccer?
Pizza.
Pizza? Well,
I'm looking at. You actually convinced me to go to their menu. I'm looking at their menu right now. They have crazy puffs now, which are like
really?
they're like muffin shaped crazy bread.
Well, now I got to look this up.
Like little puff pizzas.
Really?
Yeah.
I haven't been to a Little Caesars in a long time.
Oh, me either.
Do they have Little Caesars?
Yeah, it's over
else?
on. No, the only one is on by Microplay.
No, but I mean like internationally. Like, is this?
Oh, yeah.
Like, is this an international franchise or is this just a Canadian thing? No, I'm pretty sure they've got them in the States as well.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I don't know how international after that, but
yeah, because is it international in the way that Pizza Hut is? Or is it international in the way that?
Oh, they don't call it crazy bread anymore. They call it. Oh, you like the breadsticks?
Yeah.
Oh, I was talking about the Italian cheese bread.
Oh, that's fine too.
Yeah, so the crazy puffs are the Italian cheese bread, but like little
okay
round muffins.
Oh, okay. So they do operate internationally. There are Little Caesars in Asia and Europe and stuff.
There you go.
Cool.
The crazy puffs look like they're very popular because there's like 18 different combos that you can get with just crazy puffs and like a drink, crazy puffs and Caesar or the wings. Like they apparently people like them.
Yeah.
I might have to partake. Oh, they're filled with cheese too.
Yeah.
Oh,
Bacon
snap!
It's
cheese. Not just it's cheese upon cheese in cheese.
Yeah, I like.
Frig, I'm hungry
now. Yeah, that actually does look kind of good.
I gotta close that. That's 15 pounds of extra weight I don't need.
3 orders of Crazy Puffs for $12.99. Oh man,
that's diabetes waiting to happen.
Yeah,
and
they can't be better than jalapeno poppers, but they do look pretty good.
I don't know, man.
If they, dude, if they had a spicy Crazy Puff, I'd fucking order it right now.
Yeah, I remember when Wendy's used to have spicy chicken.
Oh yeah.
Oh, so good. Limited edition only, you fuckers.
I hate when they do that. Like they make something good and then they take it away.
Yeah.
Like, thanks for removing my reason to come to your restaurant, guys.
Yeah, now I'm not coming back.
Yeah.
Suck it. Suck it. All right, so soccer.
Yeah, soccer, it's nah.
Yeah,
I would not call this a great launch game.
No.
I think obviously there are way better soccer games, but even just at launch, like, no.
I feel like they just kind of felt like they had to put as many sports games as they could, whether or not they ended up being great or not.
If the ball just stuck to your player and they sort of dribbled it around with them, it would be fine. But having to constantly nudge the ball around is irritating.
Annoying. Yeah, agreed.
I do not like that. Okay, so what needs to be said here?
So actually, I missed one. Stack Up.
Oh, Stack Up. Okay, but what needs to also to be said about Stack Up? It's another fucking
it's the other Rob game that I couldn't play.
I will say Stack Up is a little more involved because you are like trying to stack up the little tile circly doodads.
Mm.
So there's an actual physical element to the challenge instead of just like the spinning tops as B button and A button replacements.
Yeah.
But it's not.
No. It's pointless.
Yeah.
Not a good addition to the lineup.
No.
You can forget it.
Yeah. We are not fans of the robotic operating buddy. Except
I don't think anyone is.
Except when he's dishing out power-ups in Star Fox 64. Then he's pretty cool.
Or we're in Super Smash Brothers.
In Smash Brothers, yeah.
He's not bad.
Yeah, decent character in Smash Brothers.
Yeah. But yeah, what needs to be said about
Yeah,
Super
Super
Mario
Mario
Brothers?
Brothers. Like this is honestly, we like. Do
No,
we? No, I don't think.
single-handedly saved the gaming industry,
Like
revolutionized everything.
this is the NES game. Like
Yeah,
what
it's
else?
the game that saved video games. So like
Yeah,
how what?
it's the game. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
like
I think we can.
this is the positive image in my mind when I think of a video game. Like it's like I close my eyes, yeah, and I imagine what is a video game. I see level 1-1
Yeah,
from Super Mario Brothers.
yeah.
Like it's just
Or
that's
in this
what it
case, level
is.
4-1 for some reason. But yeah, I mean, it's one of the best games of all time. What can you say?
It is as iconic to video games as like Space Invaders or Tetris. It's just
Even more so, I would say. I mean, for
yeah,
us, for
yeah,
anyone,
for us,
for anyone who
absolutely.
was born in the late '80s
Yeah,
and
like this
onward,
is
you know it.
yeah. Like and who hasn't played this game? Like that's the thing. Like,
Yeah,
we don't even need to describe it. Who the hell hasn't played this game?
even if they played it on the Super Mario 35, which I'm
Oh yeah,
still highly irritated that they took away from me.
that's gonna have to go on the bingo card
Yeah,
at
yeah,
this rate.
yeah, yeah. When we get a producer for the show, I'll just add the bingo card to like the side of the
Yeah,
the frame. Just check mark if we mention it.
yeah.
All
What
right, let's move
happens if we
on.
get a bingo? Is there like a punishment
Um,
for us?
that's good. Yeah.
Do we get tased? Maybe not tased.
I don't want to get tased.
It would be good
Jesus.
motivation. It'd be really good motivation not to constantly bring up brute force.
We have to eat Little Caesars.
That no, but that's like I said. As long as we eat it fresh.
We
Do
have
we
to eat Little Caesars the day after.
Oh, oh no. Okay,
Yeah.
that feels like it should be like in the Geneva Convention as a crime against humanity.
I think it is. I think it is.
Once again, brought to you by Little Caesars. Little Caesars sponsor us. We
Yes,
will
please,
take
yeah.
we will
Do
take Crazy Bread as payment.
Yeah, you don't even need to pay us. Just give us a lifetime supply.
We will
of
just
Crazy
spend
Bread.
it on the bread anyway. So just give us the bread directly.
Exactly. Just feed it into my vein. I think
Just
that's just grease.
Push it down the gullet. No
Yeah.
chewing required. Just one after the other.
That we'll use Rob the Robot to do it. He'll just pick up a piece of the cheesy bread.
Yeah, stack it up in our mouths.
Yep.
We will finally have a good Rob game.
Little Caesars, the Rob edition.
Yeah,
I like
we
it.
did it. We're solving your problems for you 35 plus years after the fact, Nintendo.
Yeah. It just feeds you.
Yeah.
Hey, look!
It's tennis.
Another sports game. This one's actually not bad, though. This one's
No,
actually
it's not bad. It's not bad.
I mean, how can you fuck up Pong, though? I mean, really.
yeah, I mean that is it's Pong with depth perception, sort of.
And Mario sitting
as the referee, yeah.
as the ref.
Hey, Mario shows up as a referee in a couple of games. He's also the ref in Punch Out.
Did I say Mario? I think I said Mario.
You did. You tend to say Mario.
Here's the problem. I think I've explained this on the show before. My uncle's name is Mario. And half the people in my family call him Mario.
Yeah.
So it's like something that I haven't been able to
I
shake.
didn't know your uncle's name was Mario. How have I known you this long and never known that? That seems like a thing you would have brought up at some point.
Oh, I'm sure I did. Yeah, and he's Italian.
Well, I mean, I would expect with a name like that.
No, he's not of Italian descent. He's literally from Italy.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. He goes
That's
back to see
actually
his
sick.
family ever so often. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, full accent. The whole.
I bet he
whole
has
enchilada.
really, really good recipes for everything.
It's a good question actually. I don't really know because his wife, my aunt, does all the cooking. And she has great recipes.
Oh,
but I don't
okay.
know if they're from his family or if she did them
I
herself.
like not
I
to
don't know.
stereotype, but like it's a thing in Italian families. Is
Oh yeah.
like cooking
good food.
is an important part of their culture, and with good reason. Italian food fucking rules. I mean,
Yeah.
how much time did we just spend talking about pizza?
Yeah, she makes family famous lasagna.
Oh yeah,
Is their
Italian
staple.
food fucking rules.
It does. They definitely cook more food than is necessary, like an Italian family
Yeah,
does.
yeah, that is also a very Italian
Yeah.
family thing to
You,
do.
you go over with like 6 people, and there's enough food for like 18.
Yeah,
You're
and
like, why'd you
then
cook so much? If you
we
don't
don't
eat
want
it,
you
you
to
don't eat it.
you can take some home, you know?
Yeah, yeah. So
Which
funny.
I will.
Yeah, yeah.
Fucking
Leftovers.
absolutely.
Yeah, that's how it goes. But yeah, no, yeah. Uncle Mario. Uncle Mario.
So tennis.
He's the one that plays golf games, by the way.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
He's the golf gamer. Yeah. So yeah,
So
tennis.
so he plays Mario in NES Open Tournament Golf.
I
Cool.
don't think he actually played NES tournament open
Oh.
golf. Yeah, he
Well,
played the original golf.
you
I
got
remember
you got to
that.
introduce it to him then.
I don't know. I don't know if he could go back after playing PGA Tour 2015 or 2025. I think he'd go back and be like, "The hell is this shit? This is old." I'm like, "Well, yeah, we're old.
Yeah.
We're all
Yeah,
old now."
we're at the age where we can say that too
Yeah,
to our
yeah.
to the generation above us.
I got grays. All right.
I feel like once you reach the same age that your parents were when you're born, that's when you finally join them as part of the adults.
Oh,
Like
I'm way past that then. I'm
yeah,
really
exactly.
old.
I am too. Like it is undeniable at that point that you
Yeah.
are now one of the older generation.
Yeah. That's sad. It makes me sad.
Yeah, right. Tennis. We got to talk about tennis. It's tennis.
It's great. It's great. It's tennis.
fine. You know, it's
Yeah.
it's tennis. It works.
Yeah.
Um,
I don't find anything frustrating about it. It's enjoyable.
it's almost kind of boring in how
Yeah, it's a
plain
little
it is,
simple.
because
But I mean,
it's tennis
it's the
but
first tennis game
on the
you know?
NES. Yeah, that's what you're looking for is just
Yeah.
tennis. That's what you'll get. It is no frills tennis, and if that's what you're looking for, you will get exactly that. Which is why I'd say, yeah, good addition to the lineup. It's
Yeah.
not a Super Mario Brothers, but most things aren't. And it's also definitely not a Gyromite or a Stack Up,
Yeah, in
which
terms
also
of
most things aren't, thankfully.
no, in terms of the 5 sports games, I think this one's like on par with baseball. For
Yeah.
me.
Yeah,
I think it's one of the better
solid
ones.
hit detection. I never felt like I was robbed of
Nope.
of what should have been a legitimate hit.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah.
having Mario, it's funny how having Mario there as the ref adds to the game as much as
Yeah.
it does.
Just
It's
looking at it, it just looks like a plain game. And then you're like, oh wait, there's
yeah,
Mario.
it's like, oh, there he is. That's
I did
cute.
it again.
Yeah,
I did
yeah.
it again.
But yeah, that's it. My only complaint about this game is how easy it is to fault when serving.
Yeah, it is pretty
It's
easy.
super easy.
Yeah, you got to get it down. It
Yeah.
takes a little bit of time,
Mhm.
but yeah, it's good. I enjoyed it. Let's see. Baru, a wild gunman.
Wild Gunman, yes. So I
light
inadvertently
gun.
talked about this one a bit. I
Yeah.
mentioned the saloon mini game, mistaking it with Hogan's Alley.
Yeah.
That is the better part of this game, by the way. This is just a timing test. Like
Mhm.
you don't even need to aim at the, at anything.
It's basically like a duel.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just, can you pull the trigger on the gun before the
gunman
in-game
can.
character does?
Yeah, and you can see on the top there, they time you by the millisecond. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I would say I'd liked this one better than Hogan's Alley. Just because it was a little more interesting, but it's definitely not a deep game by any stretch of the imagination.
No, it's two more light gun mini games.
Yeah.
Neither of which are super compelling. They're okay.
Yeah, no.
You know what? I think that if you had bundled all of these, what are effectively 6 games in 3 different games across, if you just bundled them all into one game, you would have had a really highly rated NES launch title.
Yeah.
To split them across 3 games is kind of like, eh.
Yeah, they didn't need to do that.
And the other thing is that, like, the simplicity of Duck Hunt is like, it's just hard to top with this other stuff. Like,
It's also cute.
It is, yeah. I do like the can game in Hogan's Alley. That's kind of neat and novel. But the rest of these are just kind of straightforward, and none of them do the shooting as well as Duck Hunt. So
Yeah, and plus in this one, you're shooting a dude.
Yeah, well,
It's very not Nintendo like.
well, you in this year, what you're doing specifically is like you're shooting his hat off. This guy,
He does fall over though, and why is there a weird happy face?
Yeah, I don't know about that.
He's laying on the floor. Is this supposed to be his balls?
Oh, is that like a sheet pulled over him? Oh, maybe you do kill him.
Yeah, yeah. I'm pretty sure it's either a sheet or it's his sombrero,
like poncho or something.
Poncho, yeah, poncho,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I haven't spent a lot of time with this game because it's not Duck Hunt.
It's not Duck
but
Hunt.
I do remember that like you'll shoot the hat off a guy. That's the thing, and to be like because you're so good, you don't even need to hit him. It's like shoot the apple off the head kind of thing.
Yeah.
Except it's his hat.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fine, but I think we can both agree that if you have Duck Hunt, you don't need this. Or
you've got the best light gun game.
Yeah. And the final game on the
At
NES
least for the
launch lineup,
stuff.
for the launch lineup is Wrecking Crew, another Mario game. Mario,
like this one.
Mario.
There you go.
Mario.
Yeah, I like this one. This is kind of a puzzle game, kind of a platformer game. It's neat. You run around and you break stuff.
There's a game that's very similar to it, and I'm trying to remember what it is. I played it recently.
On the NES or something else?
I think it's NES. Oh shoot. What is it?
I mean, the only other game that I can think of where you break stuff like parts of a building.
You don't break anything. You basically are like going down and you have to collect things and then get to the bottom, and like ghosts are chasing you, I think.
Okay, but it's not Pac-Man.
No. No, it's a platformer. It's a side scroller like this. And you have to make it from the top of the screen to the bottom of the screen and avoid the ghosts. I should know.
Are you talking about Bubble Bobble? Where you shoot the bubbles?
No, that's not it. No.
I like that game too.
Yeah, no, I'm looking at the screenshots. That's definitely not what I was thinking of.
That was one that I played a lot as a kid.
I played whatever this game is that I'm thinking of. I played it very recently. Where the hell did I play it though?
We're supposed to be talking about Wrecking Crew, and you're like, "Oh, what's another game?"
Shit.
Well, let's talk about Wrecking Crew until you remember what it is. So you break down walls. You break down what the gray things that kind of look like there might be. They look like gym lockers to me.
Yeah, I'm not sure what these are supposed to be.
Those are ladders. Because you can go up and down those. Those are breakable ladders.
Oh, okay.
The gray ones are breakable. The orange ones are not. And that's
so you're talking about these ones?
Yeah, those things kind of look like lockers to me because they got like the little air vents in them.
I always thought that they were drywall.
They might be drywall,
but I don't know because you're right. They have like a locker type vent on them.
Yeah, it's unclear. The only thing we know for sure is that those gray lined things are ladders because you can climb them, and the gray staggered things are bricks because they're
these
bricks.
Ones, yeah. And you can also take down these green pillars as well, which makes these fall.
Can you name an NES game that doesn't have bricks in it? I'm struggling.
Mega Man?
There's got to be a brick pattern somewhere in that game.
Golf.
Shit. Okay. Yeah.
And baseball.
Immediately. Okay. Can you name an NES side scroller that doesn't have a brick wall pattern somewhere in it? Yeah, that's hard.
Yeah, Contra does. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle does.
Yeah.
Yeah. Zelda, maybe? Zelda 2? They wouldn't have had bricks back then, so...
No, but like stone brick.
Like they probably would. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, bricks have been around for a long time, dude. What are you talking about?
Well, that's true. Yeah.
I mean, not the exact same kind of bricks that we make today, but like...
not modern bricks.
Terracotta bricks and stuff like that. Adobe bricks.
That's true. I don't know. That's a good question. But yeah, the objective of this game is to knock down everything.
That can be knocked down.
That can be knocked down and avoid the... I don't even know what they are.
Yeah, neither do I.
They're very weird. Look, they're almost like aliens in like a suit.
Yeah,
like a dude in a suit.
They kind of look like they almost look like the characters in Among Us, not to be sus or anything, but they got like that. They got like the visor and the unibody spacesuit kind of thing. They don't have the backpack.
So this is the official description of the story of Wrecking Crew.
Oh my god, the story of Wrecking Crew. Yes, let me hear this rich lore.
This is hilarious. So to stop Bowser, Mario retrieves his magic hammer from his time on the Wrecking Crew and begins demolishing Bowser's bases. At each location, he encounters a member of Bowser's construction crew whom he must defeat to destroy the base. I don't remember him ever having to fight anyone, though.
So this is just Mario, like,
destroying Bowser's.
What is it? Sappers. That's what it was. Like the medieval soldiers who would like dig out the foundations of castles to try and collapse the walls.
Oh
because
yeah,
they have no support. This is like Mario the Sapper.
Weird. Oh wait, yeah. Yeah, so it says the game's story features Mario? I don't even know anymore. Returning to the Mushroom Kingdom after a trip, only to discover that Bowser has started constructing multiple new high-rise bases, depriving the surrounding flora of sunlight.
They're eggplants, apparently.
Walking eggplants?
Eggplant Man is a character who first appeared in the game Wrecking Crew for the NES. Okay, what is it with that? Because like, there's also the Eggplant Wizard in the Kid Icarus.
There's also someone in Wrecking Crew called Foreman Spike. I don't remember that. Foreman Spike NES. Let's see if...
Yeah, I'm looking up the art. It's like it almost looks like Wario.
Yeah, it's like an evil version of Mario. But I don't remember him. He's got the
yellow hat and the purple beard. He kind of like...
Oh, yeah, there he is. I got a screenshot of him. Yeah, that's right. I do remember he'll randomly appear in some of the levels, and he's much faster and targets you specifically. Unlike the purple guys who just kind of wander around, he goes for you. So when you see him, it's an oh shit moment. Here comes fucking Foreman Spike. Except you didn't know that was his name. Yes, I remember this, and you can trap him if I recall correctly, if you play the level right. But yeah, he randomly appears and tries to fuck you up.
Huh.
So you just have to avoid him. I remember that. Wow, I can't believe I can't believe that slipped my mind. Maybe it's not random. Maybe he appears like every certain amount of levels or something like that. But I do remember him now. It's crazy. Yeah, I mean, this is a fun game. It's very difficult. Yeah. It's very enjoyable. Very strange to me that it wasn't actually like branded with Mario.
Yeah, but I mean, that was like at the time, Mario was just kind of their everyman who could appear in like any game. I mean, that was the idea of Mario, was that he could just be a
Jumpman.
Yeah, exactly. He could just be this everyman character who's like, he doesn't really look like a hero. He's not like, the super handsome McHotbod, Conan the Barbarian type. He just looks like an average working Joe, and you could slot him into all sorts of situations.
Yep. Yeah, it was. I played this game a lot when I was a kid. I enjoyed it.
It's a fun one.
Yep.
It's also a good stage in Smash Brothers, because you can blow up the different tiers, and then they drop down and new tiers appear above. So it's a constantly changing battlefield. I like that stage.
I love levels that do that.
Yeah.
That's why I like Power Stone.
Yeah. So yeah, this is a good addition to the library.
Yep, 100%. And that is the final game of the NES launch lineup in North America. Quite a lot of stuff. That's a big launch lineup, comparatively. So I think we'll see in future episodes, and maybe later on in this episode, that
right away,
that many other launch lineups are nowhere near this big. This is a big launch lineup. I mean, that took an hour and 45 minutes to get through the NES library, not including tangents of pizza.
Yeah.
But fantastic launch lineup. I mean, out of all those games, I would say, if we're not including the sports games, I would say 1, 2, 3, 4 are like must plays. Wrecking Crew, Mario, Kung Fu, Excite Bike for me. And Duck Hunt. So 5.
Yeah. Yeah, there's not
Yeah.
really, like, outside of the Rob games, there aren't really any duds here. There are
I
some that are not as good as others,
yeah.
but I wouldn't say there's anything here that's like objectively terrible.
No,
Like
there's nothing on here that's
there's
terrible
no game
outside the Rob
here that I would
games.
rather stare at the wall and use my imagination instead of playing, you know? Like that's the real test of whether or not a game is bad.
Yeah.
Would you rather just sit in an empty room and let your imagination take you where it will, or would you rather play this game? If the answer is the empty room, that's a bad game
Yeah, that's a
because
real
you'd
bad
like to
game.
do literally nothing more than play that game. And there's nothing
Absolutely.
here that I would say, oh yeah, I would never play that
Yeah. No, I agree.
except for the Rob games. But I mean,
Yeah, the golf game I'm not super interested in, but
yeah,
and
it,
10-yard fight.
yeah,
But all the other
10-yard
ones are
fight
really
I
good.
could play if I was desperate, I guess.
Yeah.
It's not unplayable. It's kind of slow and plodding. But it doesn't suck.
No.
It's just not great.
No. All right. So that's NES. Let's move on to its competitor.
Yeah.
The Sega Master System launched with 2 games
In North America. Yeah.
in North America.
That's rough.
Starting with Hang On, which was a arcade motorcycle racing game.
Yeah.
And
eh,
it has elements of being good,
yeah.
and then it has elements of being that make it real bad.
It looks nice.
It looks
Visually,
nice.
It's
It sounds
pretty good
decent.
looking. Sounds decent. Yeah.
It controls decent, except
Yeah.
for one problem,
Yeah.
and that is running into other bikers.
Yes.
The second you run into another biker, you explode.
Mm-hmm.
And it is so hard to dodge them.
Yeah.
It's so hard. Now, if they weren't on the road or if they were much easier to dodge, this game would be much more fun because you actually have to like change gears in this game, which is crazy for a game at this time.
Yeah. Yeah.
It took me a while to figure that out because I was like I was just pressing the gas and I was like, why is everyone passing me?
Yeah.
I'm just like watching people zip by. I'm like, why? What is the game broken? And then I eventually figured out you have to like gear up.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay. And then you have to
Yep.
gear down for the turns.
Yep.
I was like, oh, okay, this is pretty
Yeah,
cool.
and the turns are a big part of this. So for anybody who hasn't played this is part of a very specific type of racing genre, which is the pole position style of game. If
Yeah.
you've never played pole position, here's what it is. It's not really a race against other people. In the same vein as Excite Bike, there are other racers on the course. They don't actually hold any kind of place. They're just there to be obstacles for you. What you're really doing is you're really trying to stay as close to the center of the road as possible. Because if you touch any of the things on the side of the road, like that cactus there, you explode. What you're trying to do is you're trying to stay in the road and not go flying off whenever you come to one of the really tight turns, which come up occasionally. The game does this whole thing. There's a trick that they use to make the road wind left and right. It's a pretty common trick. It's used in lots of games on lots of systems. Like I said, pole position on the 2600 does a very similar effect.
I think Road Rash may have done this too.
Road Rash is a more advanced version of it, but yeah, Road Rash you can kind of say is probably the most advanced version of this concept because it has like actual placing for the racers. They're not just obstacles. It also has combat. But
it's not Hang On.
No, it's not Hang On. Yeah, so I've never really liked this type of racing game. I can see them being impressive at the time because it is a pretty cool effect.
It's kind of 3D.
To have that road like go off into the horizon, and it's neat. But it's a very one note kind of game. There's no like if you've played one level, you've literally played the entire game. It's just a change of scenery. There's not a whole lot here. The arcade version of this, I'm pretty sure, I've never played the arcade version of this, but I'm pretty sure this was one of those games that had like the actual vehicle that you sit on. Like an actual motorcycle. In fact, I'm going to look that up right now just to make sure I'm not talking out of my ass. Hang On arcade machine. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it does.
There's like a motorcycle seat. It's not a full motorcycle, but I mean, it doesn't need to be. It's just like the
No.
seat and
Yeah.
the handles. But like
Yeah.
you'd actually tilt it left and right to steer left and right, which makes it a little more novel and a little more entertaining.
Yeah.
This
Like,
version of the game suffers from the fact that it is a port of an arcade game that looks better in the arcade,
and
and
plays better.
also has a better control method in the
Yeah.
arcade. Um, it's not a bad port, but it loses the thing that makes it a novelty.
Yeah.
And it just becomes it. You know what it really is? When you get right down to it, it's basically just a left-right balancing mini game. Like
Yeah,
this isn't.
it's not fun.
Yeah, it's not.
It's
That's
not
a little.
fun.
That's a little harsher than I was trying to be, but it's like the fucking. It's like when you're grinding a rail in Tony Hawk, and you have to just like balance the
Yeah.
skater. You basically
Except the whole game is that.
yeah, it's like the whole game is
It's
that because
not.
that's pretty much all you're doing. There's
Yeah, it's
not
not
a
fun.
lot to it if you rob it of the like the bike, the sit on bike controller. Is
Yeah.
essentially what it is. So
Not fun.
yeah.
Not something to launch your console with, especially when this is 50% of the library.
Yeah, like if this had been like Hang On and like another game, which I will say there were 2-in-1 packs. There were several 2-in-1 cartridges with Hang On for the Master System. But like it should be that and a few other games. This should not be it's either this or the other one, because this isn't enough.
Especially when the other one's not as good, not really all that great either.
Yeah, the other. So yeah,
Might as well move on to that one.
Yeah, that brings us to Safari Hunt.
Look at that.
Which is basically just Duck Hunt,
but not as pretty.
But yeah, well,
I mean, it's colorful.
It's kind of colorful, yeah, and it's got different backgrounds, which is neat. Now, I will say this is another one that we had some technical issues with.
Yeah.
Because neither Trevor nor I own a Master System, or a light phaser, which is the light gun for the Master System, or a copy of this game.
Phaser.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we had to play this one through emulation because I also didn't have a Master System growing up, and the emulation, you had some trouble with it, and I had some trouble with it.
Yeah, it
I don't know if it's an emulator issue or if it's just how the game always is. I can't assume that it's as difficult to hit the targets with the real setup as it was in the emulator. My guess is that maybe the targets are really small and that's why it's so hard to hit them in the emulator. That's my assumption, at least. I'm trying to give it the benefit of the doubt here. It does not play well on an emulator, and that's unfortunately the only way we've been able to play it, because trying to find a Master System and a light phaser and a copy of this game in today's retro game market would be prohibitively expensive.
No, not
so
worth it.
I will give it the benefit of the doubt and say that it probably. I'm going to hope that it plays a lot better when with the actual hardware. But even then, it's
no Duck Hunt.
Well, that's the thing, is it's just Duck Hunt with a little bit more variety in the visuals, but not even as appealing in a way. Like this looks very flat. I mean, the terrain in Duck Hunt looks kind of messy, but at least it gives it some texture. This looks like a coloring
Flash
book.
game.
Yeah, it looks like a Flash game. I was going to say it looks like a coloring book that you've used flood fill on.
Yeah,
you know, or like a coloring page in Mario Paint.
Something.
You get like the Yoshi coloring page that you've just used the fill bucket on, and that's
it. Just looks like it can be made in MS Paint for sure.
I mean,
it's not good.
Let's be real. This program that art was made in was probably less advanced than Mario Paint or MS Paint.
Yeah, probably. But you can do a lot with art, and they didn't do a lot with art.
Yeah, it looks.
And what is that creature supposed to be? Is that like a muskrat?
I don't know.
Like, what is it? I don't even know. And what's in the top right corner? What is that?
I think that's a bird that's been hit because it's holding up the points, or maybe it's like, hey, I'm worth 200 points. I don't know. I didn't get past the first screen in this because I found it so frustrating on the emulator. I didn't get this far. But here's the key takeaway. We keep comparing it to Duck Hunt. Duck Hunt came out before this. Duck Hunt came out like a full year before this. This
Yeah,
is
not
like
good.
this is like releasing, let's say, Resident Evil Operation Raccoon City 6 months after Valve put out Left 4 Dead. It's like, I'm sorry, you've been beaten to the punch.
Yeah, way.
Even if Raccoon City does things like have unique character abilities that Left 4 Dead doesn't, I'm sorry. People have chosen their 4-player squad-based zombie game, and it's the one that came out first, and let's be real, is a better game. Operation Raccoon City's not bad, but it came
I
out
just,
after Left 4 Dead,
I
you
just don't
know?
understand why they bothered with a light gun at all. Like, I mean, there's this, their competition's a good thing, but
Yeah.
it's like they dominated with Duck Hunt. Like, why would you even bother trying to get it? I mean, I guess people always do that. I mean, look at
They
Connect
they
and
want to
look
have
at
their version of it,
Move.
you know?
Yeah, it's like you can't just copy someone and expect to do it better. And
Yeah.
if you're gonna do it better, you got to do it better. And this
Yeah,
is
you
just
got to
not
do it better
better.
than this. You have to have
Yeah,
a compelling reason to pick this over Duck Hunt. If this
yeah,
came out the same day as Duck Hunt, I'd be like, meh, they're both probably fine.
yeah,
But like this is not a
yeah.
really
If
this is
you're a
not
year after Duck Hunt
yeah, this is
and
not enough
this
of
is
an
all you
upgrade.
got, no,
You got some more animals which are essentially always just different, they're just different, you know, coats of paint on the same target.
yeah,
Um and you've got different backgrounds and that's it. Mm,
yeah.
mm,
They couldn't even be bothered to make different trees. I just noticed as well.
yeah, they're all the same tree. They're just smaller in the background or
Yeah,
thinner
or
because they're
mirrored.
further back.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like it's one screen. You couldn't just make some different trees
yeah.
or bushes. The bushes are all copied and pasted as well.
Well,
It's
I mean,
like,
let's hold on. We can't criticize that because Super Mario Brothers does the exact same thing.
yeah, but I mean
If
that's
we-
also a huge game. That's
yeah, it
like
is.
many
But it's
different
like,
screens.
I
It's
mean,
like
dude, this is an
this is
'80s
the
game.
same screen. I don't know. I don't know.
They got to reuse assets. I'm not going to hold that against them too
In the same
much.
screen though, it's one screen.
Ah.
Uh,
The trees
like, come on.
do look really flat. They could have used some texture.
Yeah. Why doesn't one of them have a hole in it where an owl could sit?
Yeah, exactly. Like that would have been enough. That would have been
Yeah.
enough.
Jesus. There's not enough thought was put into this.
Yeah,
Clearly.
it doesn't feel high effort enough to compete with Duck Hunt, a game that came out a year before. If Duck Hunt hadn't existed, we would be much more generous to this game.
Probably.
But like this stuff doesn't exist in a vacuum, you know?
No, it does not.
You
It
got to
does not.
compare like for like, and it doesn't get much more like for like than this in Duck Hunt. And Duck Hunt came first and also has skeet shooting, which again we didn't spend much time talking about, but it's there. This
Yep.
is just like, eh.
There you go. There's a good. Look at that.
Yeah,
Look at
like
that.
Duck Hunt
no
has
repeats
like,
there.
It looks like a field of tall grass. It's not just like a flat green with some bushes.
Yeah, and
you know?
there's no repeat. There's no copying and pasting in that. Look at that.
Yeah, yeah.
Like that's one complete, solid, non-repeating graphic. Someone drew that.
I mean, there is some repetition in the grass, but it's hard. It's hard to pick out because it's textured and it's even layered.
Yeah.
Like you can see they've got. I mean, obviously you can't see me pointing at it, but right
You're
where
talking
the
about
zapper
right here,
is
right?
pointing, there's like darker
Yeah.
blades of grass to represent
Yeah.
that they're further back.
Yeah, right there, right
You know?
there, right there, right there. Yeah.
It looks good. It's artistry. You've got
Hashtag
some,
effort.
yeah, you've got shading on
And
that
look at
bush
look
there.
at the tree. Even has
The
has some
tree's got
shading
some
on
shading
it. Yeah,
on
look at that.
on the bottom of those clusters of leaves. Yeah,
Yeah, little sticks popping out and everything. Look at
yeah,
that.
artistry.
Artistry, exactly. So I think what we're saying is,
The Master System is kind of a dud for its launch library. Now I want to lest we get emails from angry Master System fans. The Master System has a good overall library.
yes, this is not talking about the library. This is talking about the launch lineup only.
Overall, the Master System library is pretty good. I wouldn't say it's as strong as the NES library. The NES has more games, which does mean there will be more duds, but it also means that there will be more hits.
Maybe we'll end up doing a library comparison.
Yeah.
At some point.
And the Master System will do much better in that than it does in the launch library comparison. But we're just talking about the launch library. Like, I feel bad for Master System fans.
Oh,
You
it got
guys
destroyed.
deserved better. You guys
Why would you launch a
deserved
console
more.
with 2 games?
Yeah, especially when it's been out in Japan for a while.
Yeah, and only one of them. So one of them is a sports racing game,
Mm-hmm.
and the other one's a light gun game. They're
Yeah.
so on polar opposites and so like niche.
Yeah.
You know, like they're not for everybody. Like
And
Super Mario Brothers for everybody. You
there's
know,
no staying power to either of those games. They're just
no,
play forever games, but they don't really like. There's no progression. It's just the same thing. Like in Super Mario Brothers, you have different level layouts and stuff, but it's not like you have different. It's not like the races are different in Hang On. It's
yeah.
go down this path, then try not to spin out on this turn, try not to spin out on that turn, try not to collide with this other racer, and that's just it.
And it's not even a quantity over quality because Master System doesn't have the quantity or the quality
Yeah, like
of the NES library.
honestly, if the NES
Or
had
launch
launched
lineup.
with just Super Mario Brothers as its
It'd
one
still be
game,
better.
it would
Yeah.
still be better than the 2 launch games on the Master System.
Yeah.
They're just not good launch games. They are good games to have as part of a launch library, but they should not be the launch library.
But if you took out Super Mario Brothers, the launch lineup for the NES is still great.
Yeah, it's still great. There's
Lots of good
still,
stuff in there.
Yeah.
But Super Mario Brothers really just like takes it up to the
Yeah,
legendary
Super Mario
status.
Brothers. Yeah,
You know?
like that's a game that could stand on its own, but it's with other stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
like if you want a good Master System game, let's see here. There's Ultima 4 on the Master System, which is a PC game originally, but it translates to the Master System surprisingly well. Frankly, a lot better than the NES version did, I think, because the NES version of Ultima 4 is a very different game. It's much more JRPG-ish, which is not necessarily bad. It's just not a good fit for that game, I don't think. Phantasy Star on Master System, fucking great RPG. I think I might like Phantasy Star more than I like Final Fantasy 1. And I have no
Controversial.
I have no nostalgia for Phantasy Star either, because I didn't play that back in the day. I only played that for the first time like a year and a half ago. It was really good. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, no, Master System has got some good stuff on it. It's just when we compare the launch lineups, 15 games to 2.
Yeah. And both of those 2 are kind of duds. Or
and neither of them are like exclusives, right? Well, I guess Hang On is by Sega.
Yeah, it is by
but it's an arcade port.
Yeah,
so,
it's better in the arcades.
Yeah. So obviously we are in agreement. NES is the winner of this generation by far for its launch lineup. Absolutely,
it's a shame that it's not a more compelling competition, because I would have liked to compare more games, but when we looked into it and found really there's only the 2.
Only 2. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. It's
one
weird.
of maybe the smallest launch lineup that we're going to review in this series. We'll see.
Yeah, I can't think of anything else that only has maybe the North American N64 launch.
Guess we'll find out on not the next episode, but the one after that. Yeah.
But even then, that has Mario 64.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, Master System might go down in history as the worst launch
lineup. Yeah.
We'll find out though. We're gonna do all of the consoles from here on out in this series. So can't wait for the next episode. So this has been launch lineups in review part 1, I guess you could say. NES versus Master System. If you want to check me out, I'm TJ-Leo on BlueSky.
And I am at Ninjas on BlueSky.
And if you want to email us, don't email us your Master System hate, but you can email us at
co.up.podcasts
at gmail.com.
Yeah. I haven't said it in a while.
That's fine. So we'll see when we do part 2, a couple weeks or some point in the future.
It might not even necessarily be the next one. We might.
No.
Who knows? We might do another magazine thing. We might do another tier list. I don't think we should always do the same thing twice in a row.
No, I try to avoid that with Wrestling Renaissance as well. So
maybe it won't be the next one. Maybe it'll be the one after that. But
absolutely.
We came up with this idea and was like, oh yeah, this is a decent idea. We should do this. Yeah. So we did.
The in-review series.
Just listen to it, plus our opinions on pizza.
And you can never go wrong with pizza.
No.
Unless it's Little Caesars the next day.
Little Caesars the next day, exactly.
All right, this has been Press Pause Extra, and we out.
We out.